Morning, Sean.
So, Sean, what did you see after watching the tape of the game?
Oh, look, the same things that I felt like I saw talking to you yesterday right after the game. I mean, we did a number of things well. I was encouraged with kind of how we fought in the second half. We knew going in we were going to play it in a way where it was going to be a close game. We were going to be smart with field position. Obviously, there's a lot to coach off of relative to some mistakes, and yet we had our opportunities at the end, and we weren't able to capitalize on it. But this was one of those cases where watching the tape, there wasn't anything completely new that revealed itself. I thought we played hard in physical defensively. I thought we made some plays in the passing game, particularly in the second half. I thought Ingram had obviously a real good game and an expanded role with the injury to time. I thought our kicking game struggled. Kind of the way you felt coming off the field.
Sean, with two games, the last two games being kind of similar, do you think
I don't know that they would be similar. Okay. I mean, I'm just saying, but go ahead. I mean, they were losses.
Yeah, so let's start there then. Just with the back-to-back losses, both being kind of late games and things like that. How do you kind of get the guys to make sure this doesn't snowball, turn in two losses turn into three and that sort of thing?
Yeah, feel like it's a week-to-week challenge in our league. When you're winning, when you're losing, you got to compartmentalize. I think our guys do a good job of that. You've got to digest the game, get through the game, get on to the next opponent. I understand the question and yet still recognize the challenge of the next opponent. And I think these guys certainly understand the ability of each week, teams we're playing. So,
Sean, have you seen any commonality in the late game comebacks, whether it be a little bit more poise or better blocking or anything like that?
Yeah, look, I think it was a little different in this case. A week ago, it was kind of, two scores. This one, was kind of felt within striking range, which is where we wanted to be. Obviously, the swing in the first half with the interception that's negated was significant, but we felt like going into the second half, we just wanted this game to be right within our reach, and quite honestly, it should have been. We're having trouble making PATs, and that where a week ago I think it was a little bit more of, man, this thing got to two scores and we had to change the flow of the game, and we got into a hurry up maybe a little earlier, and it was a different type of situation.
Sean, do you have any explanation for the missed PATs? Is the hold operation good?
It was both. We tugged them. The first one we hit the ground with our foot. The second one, we pulled it.
And I wanted to follow up with you yesterday. Was that a flea flicker you all had called? Did it just get muddy and couldn't complete it?
It was a flea flicker into a blitz, and so the corner came. Ingram then initially held on and then dumped it back, and we fortunately were able to get a throwaway, but it was.
Sean, when you were down by when you decided to kick that short field goal in the fourth quarter, was there like a decision there between whether to go for it or kick the field goal, or did you feel comfortable?
I felt pretty good about, again, just the overall plan. Points were going to be at a premium in a different way than maybe playing some other games. And so, yeah, that wasn't one of those where I really struggled with going back and forth. I just knew how we were approaching this game.
Hey, Sean, when you when you see some of these competitive catches that are there, how do you grade those as a coach? Like when a receiver goes up, there's a hand on the ball. We may have seen Marcus Colton make those catches in the past. I mean, is it a catch?
At some point they make them or they don't. At some point, they don't make them all, but at some point they show the ability to make them, and that's encouraging. And it's encouraging for Marquez and Traquan. I thought Traquan played well last 2 weeks. I really like what I've seen from him, but you begin to see it or you don't. It's one or the other. All right, thank you, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Take one more? Yeah, it's right here. Remember we talked about a little bit during training camp, just the idea, the concept of using a two-quarterback system, and you said that you prefer to have kind of a consistent leader at that position. Is that just kind of...
Yeah, and I don't know that it's just a consistent leader. I prefer to have a consistent starter, and so that doesn't mean that you can't supplement that, even like we did with Drew and Taysom. And so, but to truly have a two-quarterback system, which I don't know that we've had here yet, unless what we've had here you're considering a two-quarterback system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. But I was wondering, just back to when it was Jameis and Taysom taking most of the snaps, so we talked about just that. Would that work? And you felt like you didn't want to necessarily go.
Well,
I was just wondering how
there's only 12, 11, 12, 13 possessions. I mean, it happens fast. I don't know. You're trying to look at your team and its totality, and then your offensive weapons, and how do we get the right players the ball? How do we get them on the field the most? That's the evaluation constantly we're looking at, and yet I think that's a hard. I just haven't seen it really. It doesn't mean you would never look at things like that, but I think it's challenging.
And is it fair to say that you would come away from a game like yesterday on one hand encouraged that you're competing with a team that's probably the hottest team in the league and maybe should have won, if not for some things out of your control. But then just on the other hand, I guess, disappointed in a few things that still kept you from overcoming all that and winning.
Listen, being honest, it's gut wrenching. You know what I mean? It's like, if you want to know, like, truthfully, there's so much goes into the week, and it's always difficult when you lose. And then when you lose in a fashion where it is what it is, that's even more difficult. It's more difficult to accept. And so then you kind of got to bounce back here today. That's why it's a tough job, and you got to kind of regroup and get your players back, and then get the focus and the energy shifted so that one doesn't become two, and two doesn't become three, and that's important. But, you're encouraged. You see, you're looking at the tape, and you're wanting to see guys play each play in a manner where it's better than it has been. And, we're doing that in some areas. And then some areas that, that there's some simple penalties or simple mistakes that just need to be cleaned up. And then some areas, are they good enough or not? In other words, those are honest questions. And, but the way you feel after one, where, like yesterday, it's difficult, and I can't explain it any other way. That's just how it is.
Okay, thank
Sean,
you.
On those defensively, you're getting a lot of crossing patterns of that. Is there a technique issue there, or is that just something you live with the way you are?
Teams do a good job of showing formations. They get you, if you're in man, you're going to get some shallow crossers. We were in the wrong personnel on one of the plays. You know, we were defending what we thought was 12 personnel. It was 0-2. And so now you got a matchup you don't really like. You're in man to man, and you know, offenses are pretty apt at giving you a formation to get a man zone tell. And if they see that it's man, they'll get to a man beater. And so, I mean, I think that, you know, and certainly it's a clear cross. So it's number two going vertical and the outside guy coming underneath and getting a pick there. But we've got to be better than that. All right, thanks, guys.